it's still a great ticket to have.
We've got Thursday night football. It is not. It's a good game between teams that have winning records, but it's really not that exciting of a game. I feel like to the general public, I feel like it might be a little boring. 43.5 total, line flipped. So we have some props to give out. And by the way, just getting an updated look at the lines. The line flipped Arizona -1.5 to +1.5. Seattle now the road favorite. Line flips scare me sometimes. You are going Trey Benson under 60.5 rushing yards.
Yeah.
Why?
So Benson, no doubt, is in for a really big workload. And it's not just tonight. It's obviously moving forward with Connor done for the year. But this is a really, really tough matchup for him going up against Seattle. Seattle, third best in the league right now when it comes to EPA per rush allowed. They're also top 10 in the league in terms of rushing success rate on the defensive side of things. Top 10 when it comes to fewest rushing yards allowed per game. They're just really, really stout on defense. And I tweeted this prop out the other day, and the line moved a lot. It was under 60.5, and I've seen it down as low as 54.5 in some places. So it's great to be ahead of the market. And I think Benson will play a big role really for the rest of the season. And frankly, I would rather have more interest in his receiving props tonight because that's just, I think, the role he'll be in for. So under 60.5 for Trey Benson.
I was going to mention this later in the show. I like Trey Benson over his 19.5 receiving yards. I've seen it go up to 20.5. The last couple of years, Seattle has struggled against pass-catching backs. I know in the chat already someone, and I don't want to go all the way back, but I know someone else wrote that they like the over 21.5 receiving yards for Trey Benson.
Yeah.
What is it about Trey Benson that's going to be more successful in that pass game?
He's just a good player. Like I really think he's a good player. He's effective when he gets the ball, yards after contact, all these things. And again, if we're seeing a decent pass rush from Seattle, getting these quick check down passes to Benson, I think will be easy. I believe Seattle will do their best to eliminate, not fully eliminate, but take away as much as they can from Trey McBride out of the game, who's the clear number one option on the Cardinals. The deep ball with Marv Harrison, it's just going to leave something open underneath. And you give me the ball in his hands 3 times, 8 yards a time, 7 yards here. He can go over the 19 or 20, whatever it is.
Looking ahead to this weekend, you're looking at this Bills-Saints game. And the Bills they were 16.5-point favorites. Now it's 15.5 points.
Yeah.
Even as double-digit favorites, even if the Bills blow them out, someone's got to score. Someone's got to do well. And you just don't believe it's Keon Coleman. How come we are going to be fading the receiver?
I really like Keon Coleman. I really do. I think he's a tremendous talent. I have him on my most important dynasty fantasy football team, just to be clear. But it's not really about that and just like his physical attributes. But the Bills' receiving target share this year is all over the place, and I hate it. So Keon Coleman leads the team at 18%. Dalton Kincaid's at 16. Khalil Shakir's at 15. Josh Palmer's at 13. James Cook's at 9. Dawson Knox at 7. It is so spread out. There's no one dominant option in the receiving game for the Bills. And this is very clearly a game with them being, multiple touchdown favorites, where if you told me 5, 6 different players all had 3 or 4 catches, I'm not going to be shocked. Like there's no one. It's just like, oh, who's open? Just pass it to this guy. Oh, who's open the next time? Pass it to this guy. It doesn't matter if someone has the hot hand. Josh Allen's just going all over the place with the ball. And that makes it really difficult from a prop perspective, where Keon Coleman could realistically go over his yardage prop and still end with only 3 catches because he is a little bit of a deep ball threat. And then add in the run game. If they're ahead by this much, then we're not going to be dealing with a whole lot of passes just because they're going to be playing by 10, 14 points in front, and they're just going to be running the ball, and the clock's going to be bleeding.
Hey, I don't mind it, especially in a large spread kind of game where you might only get 3 quarters out of your players
also
anyway.
True. Yeah.
And I agree with you with deep threats. I never really was a receptions prop better. I was more of a receiving yards prop better. When you get situations like a deep threat, it is very scary to go and fade their yards sometimes because it happens in one catch. So to go under receptions and it's only -130 is actually nicely priced.
Yeah, I go under on receptions and over on yards. Yards are far easier to win compared to overs on total receptions.
I like it. Speaking of yards, Chuba Hubbard, under 55.5 rushing yards. We're both on the same page here. I'm going to talk about my NFL props tomorrow, but you're looking at a New England defense that's been really good against the run this year. I mean, top 5 so far this season against running backs. Chuba Hubbard, under. How come we're not afraid of a relatively low rushing yards number of 55.5?
I think he's a good running back. Like, and that's just really what it comes down. Like, he's good. He's not great. The volume can be there for him at times. It's a tough matchup, like you said, going up against New England. I also don't like what I'm seeing from him, and more importantly, the Panthers O-line, especially when it comes to an efficiency perspective. Under 4 yards per carry in each of the first 2 games, and he has a long rush this season of 14 yards. In the other 2 games, it's at 8 and 9 yards. It's not like he's some explosive player that is breaking off these 20, 30-yard runs that we have to worry about. Like, they're grinding their way to 2, 3, 4 yards per carry, and seeing that against this defense, which is held in week 1, Genty under 40. They held Devon Achane to only 30 yards, and they held Warren on Pittsburgh last week to 47. So it's not like they're actually really solid on defense, and Drake May is actually playing really solid this year. A lot of the underlying metrics are very beneficial for him. That's a side note. But the defense from New England's solid, and Hubbard's just not going to see enough volume in order to get to 4 yards, 3 yards per carry. It's 17, 20 times. It's just not going to happen.
I like it. I like fading a team too that the line's moving in favor of New England. Carolina, not looking so hot. I don't trust their offensive line. I certainly don't trust Chuba Hubbard. So against the good run D, it makes perfect sense to me. Boise's asking us this question. I'll answer it too, and then you could feed off whatever you think I say, Tom. Matabike neck injury seems career-threatening, waiting on second or third opinions. It does kind of sound like the way the Ravens are speaking about the Matabike injury, that it's really serious based on just the reports I'm hearing, and I could go and ask some of my people. It doesn't seem like we're getting Matabike back anytime soon.
Right. I mean, I'm not going to speak to a medical thing, even though I do have some experience with neck injuries myself. But, if he's not back, he's not back. If he comes back at a certain point, I assume they'll ease him back in. It is obviously a big loss, but there's nothing that can be really derived from it except the fact that they're just weaker overall. Like, that's just a fact.
Yeah, the Ravens losing him and Kyle Van Noy, very bad. I know Sean wants to talk about Survivor. You have any thoughts on Survivor picks this week?
This week, I would be very comfortable going to the Rams if you haven't already used them. I would be very comfortable going to the Packers if you haven't used them. The Lions, the Bills. There's some good teams, straightforward.
I feel like everyone's going to be on the Bills this week if they haven't used them.
Yeah, if you haven't used them, Bills, Lions. I wouldn't mind the Pats if you had to. Rams, 49ers, only if Purdy plays. Packers.
49ers scare me this week.
Okay.
Even if Purdy plays, the 49ers, they have a short week coming up against the Rams on Thursday. That's a bad spot.
It is, but, Purdy back is certainly a boost for him, or a boost for the team overall. And could they win that game and not cover? Was it 3.5 for that game?
Yeah, 3.5.
3.5. And they win by a field goal. Jacksonville's playing certainly better. Packers are awfully confident themselves on the road. I think the Packers roll that game.
Yeah, if the Packers didn't just lose to the Browns last week, I would say, okay. But after losing to the Cleveland Browns, I don't think that the Packers, as 6.5-point favorites, are going down.
I don't. I actually was talking about it with someone yesterday. I'm considering just taking the Packers at -9.5. Like, if they win this game, I think it'll be comfortable. It won't be
maybe close first half, because I saw a really interesting stat. There was a really interesting stat about, and I have to go through all my documents. So when playing, this is if the Cowboys are a 7-point dog. Okay. If it did hit 7 at one point, so it's 6.5 I've seen. But when playing in a first half of a season, home dogs of at least 7 points are 19-1-2 against the spread over the last 3 years.
Okay. First half. I mean, it's very plausible that if they're not in it close, they won't be in it close at all. And I know it sounds silly, but if they can keep it close, they'll have a shot to cover. But I really think the Packers roll by 10+ points. So I think that's very straightforward.
And I understand not liking a road team for Survivor, fine. But to the chat's point, if you don't have, let's say, the Ravens already used, then you've got to save the Lions potentially for for Thanksgiving. Like, you have to think of Thanksgiving.
There's a lot to consider, and where you are, how much money is it worth? Do you have two? Are you going to use one on the other? Those sorts of things. I will say one point for the Thursday night game, the FanDuel TD jackpot for the bonus bet thing that you use. You get the I am on Elijah Arroyo on Seattle at plus 1060 for TD jackpot. He is their tight end, and surprisingly enough, he is tied with JSN for the most red zone targets on Seattle this year. Big body tight end.
So when you do that, is that his also just anytime touchdown odds, or does it get boosted?
So no, you apply the token, and if he scores either the first or the last, you get the bonus bet. But if he scores in the middle, you still win the bet, but you just don't get part of the bonus promo that they've going on. Ooh. So the odds don't change. It's just about scoring the first.
And you said what were the odds for the anytime touchdown?
He's 1060 right now. Elijah Arroyo, their second round tight end draft from this past year.
Ooh, that's an interesting underrated one. I was going to ask you.
So it's if no one's been playing it, the way it works is FanDuel has some bonus money set, and if they score first or last, that money is chopped by the number of people that have it. So if 10,000 people bet Kenneth Walker, it's 1 million divided by 10,000. But so everyone's going to the chalk of Walker, Benson, JSN, even Charbonnet will be thrown in there, Trey McBride, and Marv Harrison, and even maybe Cooper Kupp. So in order to get away from the chalk and take a viable option, who again is tied with the second most red zone targets on Seattle this year, Elijah Arroyo, Arizona, bottom 5 or bottom 8 in the league, I should say, when it comes to receiving yards allowed versus tight ends.
And then if, let's say, you hit that and everyone else gets chopped, what's the boost?
There's no boost. There's no boost. It's just the guy has to score either first or last, and that's when the bonus is applied. I assume people have. It's $1 million bonus, one for first, one for last. So, and he's saying he's on Cooper for the jackpot. That's a good one. That's a good one to have because you're getting away from the top options. And even if Cooper Kupp scores the second touchdown of the game, you still win the bet. You just don't get part of the promo.
I was about to write about Cooper Kupp in my newsletter today. I just couldn't. When I write about things in the Prop Queen newsletter, I like to make sure I have stats, analysis, numbers to back it up. I just didn't have much on Cooper Kupp. New offense. We can't really use what he did in his last couple of years, especially in prime time because it's a new quarterback. Cooper Kupp should be due. No, I mean, he's a veteran.
I think it's I think it's a good pick for the promo specifically, just because I think you're getting away from the chalk. Everyone's going to go Trey McBride, Kenneth Walker, all these sorts of things, Trey Benson. So getting away from that is absolutely the right thing to do. Like when you have all these options, if no one stands out, like jump a level down, and it's a $5 promo, so you just opt in and you're good to go.
We are going to be, Kelly and I, doing another Anytime Touchdown Splash Sports contest where we get to pick one touchdown scorer a week. I actually got eliminated in the first week last time, so I'm going to need Tom. This is hard.
It is. Last week I was on. Oh boy, I don't remember. Mike Evans, obviously.
Yes,
Mike Evans came through, and then he got hurt. So shout out to him.
You got him on like the last hurrah.
I know, but
it was the swan song.
Hopefully,
even though we did lose, wasn't it Trey McBride week 1?
Yeah, and then he scored last week against the 49ers of all teams.
Great. So. Well, I'm going to need some help with this anytime touchdown market. Before I let you go, give people advice on handicapping that market going into the weekend.
Always take things that are plus money. Stop laying odds on TDs that are minus 150 or minus 130. That's crazy. Look for players that have high usage, that are on the field a lot, high snap count. If it's a receiver, high target share, high red zone target share, high end zone target share. And I do buy into premium, or I shouldn't say premium, like top end wide receivers who haven't scored yet because they want to be happy, and quarterbacks should keep their top end wide receivers happy. So Drake London wouldn't be the worst pick in the world. You look there. I was on Laporta the other night for TD. He didn't score, and he certainly has a fine matchup. Jason has a super high target share, so that's a totally fine option from a normal perspective. He's at 176 tonight, which is certainly fine.